Have you ever sat down to a meal and quietly wondered, is this really helping me feel younger? Or am I just eating what I've always eaten because that's what I'm used to? It's not an easy question to ask. And at a certain age, making changes, especially to something as personal and comforting as a food on your plate, can feel overwhelming. But here's the truth no one really tells you. The way you eat after 65 matters more than ever. Not because your body is weaker, but because it's wiser. It's talking to you more clearly now, and it needs different things than it did when you were 30 or 40. And when you start listening to those needs, everything starts to shift. Your energy, your mood, even your sleep and memory. It's all connected. That's what today is about. Not dieting, not counting calories, not feeling guilty for enjoying your favorite foods, but about tuning into the real way of eating that has helped people around the world live into their 90s and even 100s with clarity, independence, and joy. And no, it's not about eating exotic powders or chasing the latest fads. It's actually the opposite. It's about going back to basics, to what real people in real places, like Okinawa in Japan, the mountains of Sardinia, or the countryside of Costa Rica, have been doing for generations. They eat in a way that supports their bodies, their hearts, and their communities. And now you can too. Let's start with something simple. Something you might already be doing, but could take even deeper. Have you ever noticed how rushed we can be when we eat? A sandwich in front of the television, breakfast standing by the sink, dinner with half our attention on our phones, or worries. But the world's longest living people eat differently. They eat with intention. They take their time. They sit down. They chew slowly. They make eating a sacred act, something to enjoy, not just get over with. And that alone can change everything. When you chew slowly, you actually absorb more nutrients. You give your body a chance to tell you when it's full. You reduce bloating, indigestion, even sugar cravings. And just as importantly, you feel more satisfied. You reconnect with your food, and often with the people sitting around you. So tomorrow morning, when you have that first bite of something warm and comforting, pause, chew, taste, notice the way your body responds. That simple habit, eating slowly and mindfully, can have ripple effects throughout your entire system. And while you're doing that, let's gently layer in the second shift. And this one might surprise you. Most elders in longevity zones eat something that many people in the West still avoid, carbohydrates, but not the processed kind, not white bread or sugary cereal. I'm talking about natural carbs, sweet potatoes, beans, lentils, brown rice, whole grains. In Okinawa, one of the top sources of energy is a humble purple sweet potato. In Nicoya, Costa Rica, people eat black beans with almost every meal. These foods are rich in fiber, loaded with antioxidants, and keep blood sugar levels stable. They're filling but not heavy, and they help fuel the kind of slow, steady energy your body craves as you age. So if you've been told to fear all carbs, pause. Not all carbs are created equal. These are slow carbs. They digest gradually. They feed the good bacteria in your gut. They support your heart and your brain. And they help you feel full without reaching for unhealthy snacks later on. You don't need to give up your favorite foods. Just try adding a spoonful of lentils to your soup, or swapping white rice for brown, or trying roasted sweet potatoes instead of mashed with cream. These little swaps, over time, make a huge difference because your body knows what to do with real food. It recognizes it. It says thank you. Now, while we're talking about what goes on the plate, let's also talk about what surrounds it. Because in these long-living cultures, eating isn't just about nutrition. It's about connection. Meals are often shared, not always with a crowd, but with someone, a friend, a partner, a neighbor, even a pet sitting by your feet. That sense of company, even silent company, triggers a deep sense of safety and joy in the body. It lowers stress hormones. It helps digestion. And it reminds us that food is meant to nourish not just the stomach, but the spirit. So even if you live alone, consider this. What could make your meals feel more connected? Could you call a friend while eating? Could you set a place at the table, even just for yourself, with a cloth napkin and soft music playing? Could you join a weekly lunch group, even virtually? These things matter. They matter more than most of us realize. Because the way you feel while eating shapes the way your body uses the food you're eating. You deserve meals that feel peaceful, that feel kind, that feel alive. Now that we've eased into first few ideas, eating slowly, choosing real whole carbs, and making meals a moment of presence and connection, we begin to feel a pattern, don't we? A rhythm, a slowing down, a returning to something more natural, more nourishing. And that rhythm, that's the doorway to everything else. Because once you start slowing down and listening to your body, something amazing happens. You stop eating out of habit or stress or boredom, and you start eating out of care. And when your meals become acts of care, they start doing more than just feeding you. They start healing you. There's a quiet wisdom that comes with age, and it becomes especially clear when you look at how people in long-living cultures treat their food. It's not just about what they eat, but how much. And one of the most consistent habits across all these communities is what the Okinawans call hara-hachi-bu. That's a fancy phrase, but its meaning is beautifully simple. Stop eating when you're 80% full. Now, that might sound strange at first. Most of us were raised to clean our plates, to finish everything, even if we were already full halfway through. But here's the thing. Your body often knows it's full before your brain does, and it takes time for that signal to arrive. That's why eating slowly is so helpful. It gives your body time to say, hey, I'm good. I've had enough. And practicing this 80% rule doesn't mean you'll walk away from the table hungry. It means you'll walk away satisfied, light, and energized, rather than stuffed, sleepy, or bloated. It's a shift that takes some patience. But it's one of the most powerful things you can do for your digestion, your metabolism, and your long-term health. Because overeating, even by just a little, over time, puts wear on the body, especially on your liver, your pancreas, and your heart. So here's something simple you can try. The next time you're eating a meal, pause when you feel almost full. Take a breath. Let it settle. You might realize you're already content. And if you're not, that's okay too. Eat a bit more, but practice listening. Practice trusting that gentle voice inside. And when that becomes part of your rhythm, when you combine that inner awareness with nourishing real food, your entire system begins to operate more smoothly. You wake up with more energy. You feel less weighed down. Your body thanks you with better sleep, clearer skin, and steadier mood. It's like tuning an old piano. With a few careful adjustments, the music returns. Now, let's shift the scene for a moment. I want you to imagine walking through a colorful farmer's market, the kind you'd find in southern Italy or a Costa Rican village. Fresh herbs hanging from baskets, tomatoes bursting with color, bright green still damp from the morning dew. That's where the next longevity's secret lives. Plants, not just as a side dish, but as the center of the meal. In all of these long-living communities, vegetables aren't just decoration. They're the foundation. Leafy greens, garlic, onions, carrots, peppers, squash. Eaten daily, often cooked simply, with olive oil or herbs. You don't need to go vegetarian. You don't need to give up your favorite meat dishes. But shifting the ratio, more plants, less animal, is one of the most consistent dietary patterns seen in people who live the longest. Plants do more than provide vitamins. They reduce inflammation. They keep your gut microbiome diverse and healthy. They support immune function. They even help regulate hormones. But most of all, they help you feel vibrant, alive. They bring color not just to your plate, but to your day. And the best part? You don't need to eat kale every meal. You don't need expensive powders or imported greens. Just start with what you enjoy. Tomatoes and cucumber with olive oil. A handful of spinach in your eggs. Roasted carrots with thyme. A vegetable soup made from whatever's in your fridge. Let it be easy. Let it be joyful. And if you're able to grow anything, even one pot of parsley or basil by the window, that connection between you and your food becomes even stronger. There's something beautiful about eating something you grew. It reminds you that you're still connected to the earth, that you're still part of something alive. This kind of eating isn't about restriction. It's about celebration. Celebrating the colors, the flavors, the nourishment that real, whole food brings. When your meals look like a rainbow, you're doing something right. And in these communities, meals are often humble, sometimes just beans, greens, and a bit of rice. But they're prepared with care. They're seasoned with tradition, and they're eaten with gratitude. That brings me to another quiet truth about eating well later in life. It's not just the food that nourishes, it's the attitude. Gratitude changes everything. And in long-living cultures, saying a simple thanks before a meal, whether to a higher power, to the earth, or even just silently to the hands that prepared it, shifts the entire experience. You slow down, you savor, you stop taking it for granted, and your body responds. Because stress doesn't just live in your mind. It lives in your gut, your blood, your immune system. And something as simple as saying, thank you, before you eat can literally change your digestion. Try it, just once. Before your next meal, close your eyes for 3 seconds and think of one thing you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be profound. It could be your favorite spoon, the way the light hits the table, the fact that you're here, breathing in this moment. That small ritual, gratitude before meals, isn't a trick. It's a return, a remembering that food is a gift, that eating is sacred, and that your body deserves to be nourished in a way that honors that. When you combine that mindset with wholesome foods, gentle portions, and joyful colors, you create more than a meal. You create medicine. Medicine that doesn't come in a bottle, but on a plate. Medicine that doesn't have side effects, only side benefits. And you begin to feel the shift, not all at once, not in dramatic ways, but in quiet moments, in steadier mornings, in calmer afternoons, in the way you start to trust your body again, not as something broken, but as something wise. And isn't that what we're really looking for? Not just more time, but more trust in our bodies, more ease in the way we move, digest, sleep, and live. The kind of quiet confidence that comes from knowing we're not fighting time, but flowing with it, walking alongside it. That's what these long-living communities show us. Not in big, dramatic gestures, but in their everyday choices. Their meals aren't perfect, but they're consistent. Their plates aren't fancy, but they're full of life. Their routines aren't rigid, but they're full of rhythm. And one rhythm that keeps showing up again and again is something we often forget when thinking about food. Fat. Not just any fat. Not the greasy, fried kind that leaves you sluggish, but healthy fats. The kind found in nuts, seeds, olives, and avocados. In these communities, especially around the Mediterranean, olive oil isn't just used, it's celebrated, drizzled on vegetables, mixed into dressings, dipped with bread. It's part of the culture, and for good reason. These fats support your brain. They protect your heart. They reduce inflammation in joints and tissues, something especially helpful after 65. They help absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. And perhaps most importantly, they help you feel satisfied after meals. That kind of satisfaction is what keeps you from reaching for the cookies 2 hours later. It keeps your blood sugar stable, your cravings quiet. So if you've been told to fear fat, pause. Let's reframe that. Fat is not the enemy. Bad fat is. But natural unprocessed fats? Those are allies. A handful of almonds, a spoon of flax seeds on your oats, a drizzle of olive oil on roasted vegetables, a slice of avocado on toast. These are small acts that carry big impact. And here's something else you might find interesting. People in these long-living cultures don't snack all day. They eat at regular times, with intention, and then let the body rest. That rest period between meals is just as important as what's on your plate, because your body needs time to digest, to clear out, to reset. Constant snacking interrupts that. It keeps your insulin levels high. It exhausts your digestive system. It never lets your cells take a breath. But when you space out your meals and eat until you're truly satisfied, your body can use that in-between time to repair and restore. Think about the way a fire burns. If you keep adding small, wet logs, it smolders. But if you feed it steadily, then let it breathe, it glows. That's your body. Let it glow. And during those rest periods, hydration plays a powerful role. Water is a silent partner in every long-living person's daily rhythm. Not soda, not energy drinks, just simple, clean water. Sometimes with a slice of lemon, sometimes infused with herbs. Often sipped slowly throughout the day, not just in gulps when you feel thirsty. Because by the time you feel thirsty, you're already a little dehydrated. And even mild dehydration affects your energy, memory, and digestion. It thickens your blood. It clouds your thinking. But water? Water clears. It moves. It purifies. So a gentle reminder, keep a glass near you, not as a rule, but as a ritual, a way to show your body that you're listening, that you're tending to it, that you respect it. And all of this, the fats, the meal spacing, the hydration, it's not about restriction. It's about support. You're not punishing your body. You're partnering with it. That shift in thinking. That food is not about control, but about care. Can change the way you experience every bite. It can turn cooking from a chore into a meditation. It can turn eating from a routine into a ritual. And it can turn your meals into moments of real, grounded presence. Because here's the thing, your body wants to thrive. It really does. It's not working against you. It's doing its best with what you give it. And when you begin to feed it in the way nature intended, in the way elders across the globe have been doing for centuries, it responds with gratitude, in clearer mornings, in calmer digestion, in fewer pills, in deeper sleep, in brighter moods. It whispers back to you, thank you, I remember this. And maybe that's the most powerful part of all. This isn't new. This isn't some brand new science or complicated formula. This is a remembering, a coming home to the way humans have eaten for generations, before fast food, before supplements, before calorie counting. Real food, eaten slowly, in good company, with good oils, with gratitude, with trust. And you don't need to overhaul your entire kitchen tomorrow. You just need to begin. Add one new habit. Swap one item. Drink one extra glass of water. Listen to one cue from your body and let it grow from there. Because this isn't a diet. It's a way of living, a way of honoring the years you've been given and the many still ahead. And as this way of eating slowly becomes part of your life, you'll start to notice that food feels different. It's no longer just something to get through. It's not something you eat with guilt or fear or rules scribbled on a paper from some diet plan. It becomes something you look forward to, a part of your day that brings comfort, nourishment, and a sense of connection. That's especially true when food becomes personal. And that's what I want to talk about next. Something that often gets lost in modern advice, eating with roots. The elders who live the longest don't just eat what's healthy. They eat what's meaningful, what's local, what's seasonal, what their parents and grandparents ate. Food is tied to memory, to identity, to home. And when meals carry emotional meaning, your body feels it too. It's not just about nutrients anymore. It's about belonging. In Ikaria, Greece, you'll find stews passed down through generations, simple but deeply flavorful, made with lentils or wild greens and finished with olive oil. In Sardinia, flatbread and sheep's milk cheese are staples. Foods that have been part of family meals for hundreds of years. In Okinawa, there's a seaweed called mizuku, eaten often, not because someone told them it was superfood, but because it's part of their story. What's part of yours? What meals do you remember from your childhood? What ingredients made you feel cared for? Was it the smell of garlic in the pan? The taste of fresh corn? The ritual of gathering around a wooden table? Even if the meal was modest, bringing those pieces back into your daily life isn't just comforting, it's healing. It grounds you. And even if your childhood food wasn't the healthiest, you can adapt, keep the flavors, the memories, and shift the ingredients toward what serves you now. Your food doesn't have to be anyone else's idea of perfect. It just needs to feel like yours. And sometimes all it takes is slowing down enough to notice, to taste, to feel gratitude. That's when eating stops being mechanical and starts being alive again. There's something else, too, something most people don't talk about when discussing longevity. It's this: people who live the longest often grow some of their own food, not acres of farmland, not perfect gardens, but a few herbs, some leafy greens, maybe a tomato plant, just enough to keep their hands in the soil. And there's a reason for that. Growing food, even a little, reminds you that you're not separate from nature. It reconnects you with the seasons, with sunlight, with patience, and with your own ability to create. It's not just about the nutrients you get from a homegrown cucumber. It's about what happens inside you when you watch something sprout, grow, and ripen. It gives you purpose. It gives you peace. Even if you only have a windowsill, you can grow something. Basil, chives, a few scallions in water. Every time you snip a leaf and add it to your meal, you're saying, I'm still growing too. That mindset that you are still growing is the most powerful shift of all, because often society tells people after 65 that they've slowed down, that their best years are behind them. But that's not what the elders in these long-living regions believe. They expect to live long. They plan for it. They stay curious. They keep learning. They keep contributing. And food is part of that contribution. Many of them cook for their families well into their 80s and 90s. They teach recipes. They pass on knowledge. They make meals that bring people together. And that, perhaps more than anything, is what makes their lives feel full. Because food is never just food. It's a way of saying, you matter. I care. I want to nourish you. And if you can offer that kind of love to someone else, you can and must offer it to yourself. So the next time you prepare a meal, think of it as an act of love. Not just fuel, not just habit, but love. Use your favorite plate. Light a candle. Play soft music. Make it feel special, even if it's just you at the table. Because you are special. And you deserve meals that reflect that. The more you treat your meals this way, the more your body begins to trust you. It relaxes. It receives. It starts to operate like it was meant to. And your days start to carry a different quality. Not just longer, but richer. Because that's the goal, isn't it? Not just more birthdays, but more beautiful days. Days when you feel clear, steady, alive, where your body works with you. Where food feels friendly, not confusing. And when those days begin to string together through small, loving choices, they become a life, a long, healthy, vibrant life. And as the days go by and these habits start to settle into your life, you might find something surprising beginning to happen. The confusion around food starts to fade. The guilt quiets down. The pressure to do everything right lifts a little. What takes its place isn't perfection. It's peace. That peace comes when you realize you're not eating for weight or looks or a number on a chart. You're eating for vitality, for clarity, for strength, for joy. And that's where the next quiet secret of longevity comes in. Balance. Not just nutritional balance, but emotional balance. You see, the elders in these long-living communities don't punish themselves for enjoying food. They don't carry shame for eating a little extra now and then. They don't count every calorie. What they do is lie with rhythm. Their meals follow the flow of the day. A hearty breakfast, a light lunch, a small dinner, and that dinner is often early, giving the body time to digest before sleep. They don't snack late into the night. They don't push through meals in a rush. They let their days unfold with a kind of gentleness that gives their body space to thrive. So if you've been eating in a way that feels frantic or disconnected, here's an invitation. Build yourself a little rhythm. You don't have to follow someone else's plan. Just notice what works for you. Maybe breakfast at 8, a walk before lunch, a warm bowl of soup as the sun sets. Maybe herbal tea in the evening. Maybe just less noise around food and more listening. And that listening, it's something we forget how to do, isn't it? Especially when we're used to following external rules. But your body has its own voice, a quiet one that tells you when something feels good or when it's too much, one that celebrates a bowl of warm lentils, and maybe tells you gently that the third slice of cake won't bring more joy than the second did. When you build that relationship with your body, something changes. You start to trust yourself. And that trust, that relationship, is one of the most underrated pillars of healthy aging. Because here's what most people won't tell you. Long life isn't just about avoiding illness. It's about avoiding fear. The fear of food, the fear of getting older, the fear of doing it wrong. And food can either feed that fear or free you from it. The elders who live long and well, they've made peace with their plates. They've simplified their meals. They've filled their bowls with what grows around them. They've let go of obsession, and they've made space for pleasure. Because yes, pleasure is part of longevity too. There's a reason people in these regions drink a little wine with dinner, or savor a square of dark chocolate, or sit for an extra hour chatting after lunch. It's not just about nutrients. It's about happiness. And happiness is good for your heart, for your blood pressure, for your memory, for your sleep. So let's talk about that for a moment. How you eat is just as important as what you eat. Are you sitting down when you eat, or standing by the counter? Are you eating in silence, or with a screen shouting at you? Are you taking time to chew and breathe, or rushing to finish? These things matter. Try creating a space, even if it's small, where meals feel like a pause in the day, a time to reconnect, even if it's just with yourself. Use your favorite mug, your favorite bowl. Let your table be a little sanctuary, even for 10 minutes. That ritual tells your nervous system, it's safe now. You can relax. You can receive. And when you eat from that place, calm, present, unhurried, your body responds. Digestion improves. Nutrients absorb better. Hunger cues become clearer. Cravings soften. And your whole experience of food changes. This is what long-living people already know, whether they can explain it or not. It's in their rhythm. It's in their laughter at the table. It's in the way they still look forward to lunch at 85. It's in the way their meals are cooked slowly, eaten slowly, and enjoyed fully. And this can be yours too, no matter where you live, no matter what you've eaten in the past, no matter how many diets you've tried and failed. You can return to this kind of eating, the kind that brings you back to life, rather than pulling you away from it. You can begin again, right now, with one small bowl of soup, with one cup of water, with one act of care. Let yourself eat like someone who plans to be here a while. Let your meals feel like a gift, not a burden. Let food be something that heals, not just your body, but your relationship with time and with yourself. Because after 65, life can still stretch forward with beauty, with clarity, with strength. And every plate you fill with love is a vote for that kind of life. The more you practice eating this way, the more you'll notice it becomes less about following rules and more about returning home. You begin to wake up with steadier energy. You start to sleep with a calmer heart. The aches don't scream quite as loud. And maybe, just maybe, you find yourself smiling again for no particular reason, except that you feel well. That sense of wellness, it doesn't come from any single food or supplement. It's not hidden in a vitamin bottle or a protein shake. It comes from the wholeness you create when everything starts working together, when your meals are made with love, when your schedule allows for breath, when your body feels honored, not pushed, not punished, just heard. And at the heart of that wholeness is something the longest living people all seem to have, no matter where they're from, a reason to eat well, not to impress, not to shrink, but to serve something larger. In Okinawa, they call it ikigai, a reason for being. In Sardinia, it shows up in the way meals are prepared for the whole family, often 3 generations at one table. In Loma Linda, California, it's reflected in faith-based routines that prioritize care for the body as a spiritual responsibility. And maybe that's a final piece of this quiet wisdom. When you eat for purpose, you begin to live with purpose. So ask yourself gently, what do you want your meals to support? Do you want strength so you can keep walking with your dog each morning? Do you want a clear mind to keep reading the books you love? Do you want to feel lighter so you can garden again, or dance in the kitchen, or chase your grandkids without needing to sit down so soon? Whatever it is, name it. Let that vision sit at the table with you. Let it shape your choices, not from guilt, but from vision. Because when you connect your food with your future, it starts to matter more. And that meaning, it sticks. You'll find yourself naturally reaching for what supports you, not out of fear, but out of care. You'll eat more greens because you want strong knees. You'll choose water because you want sharp memory. You'll say no to processed sugar not because you're scared of it, but because you respect yourself too much to feed your body something that dulls your light. And slowly, That respect becomes part of everything. You sit a little straighter. You breathe a little deeper. You walk a little farther. And not because someone told you to, but because you can. And with that strength, you start to inspire others. Without saying a word, people around you begin to notice the way you live, the way you glow, the way you still show up with energy and warmth and clarity. They'll see that age doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean depth, power, even renewal. And your food, this simple daily practice, becomes one of the most beautiful tools in that transformation. It won't always be perfect. Some days you'll feel tired. Some days you'll eat out of habit. Some days you'll crave what you know isn't best. But here's the grace. You're allowed to be human. One off day doesn't erase a week of care. One indulgence doesn't undo a month of rhythm. Return. That's the practice. Not perfection, but return. Every time you come back to your breath, your body, your bowl, you come back stronger, wiser, more alive, because the real secret of longevity isn't hidden in a superfood or a secret formula. It's found in the quiet consistency of your choices, in the small, sacred ways you show up for yourself, day after day, plate after plate. And now that you know this, now that you've tasted this truth, you can't unknow it. It's yours now. So go on. Fill your kitchen with foods that make you feel good, not just later, but now. Let your meals be light, but nourishing. Let your body tell you what it needs, and trust that it knows. Let food be more than survival. Let it be sacred. Let it remind you again and again that you're still growing, that you're still becoming, that there's still so much life left to taste. And as you begin to live into these changes, not just in thought, but in your body, your kitchen, your daily choices, you might start to notice something even deeper than physical wellness, a shift in how you experience time. Time doesn't move quite so fast when you're present, when your meals have meaning, when your mornings start with purpose, when the act of feeding yourself becomes something you look forward to, not just something to get through. You find yourself pausing longer in the sunlight, tasting your tea more slowly, feeling your steps, your breath, your heartbeat, like old companions you're learning to love again. This is a true gift of long life, not just the length, but the depth, because the elders who live the longest don't just live on. They live well, and not because they were the strongest or the richest or the luckiest, but because they chose every day to be tuned in to their food, their bodies, their community, and the quiet wisdom of nature. And the beautiful truth is, you can too. It doesn't matter where you're starting. Whether your pantry is stocked with packaged food or fresh produce. Whether you've been eating mindfully for years or just started thinking about it today. Whether your health feels stable or shaky. What matters is that you're here, right now, choosing to pay attention. Choosing to eat like someone who honors the season of life, not fights it. Because this chapter, after 65, is not the end of your story. It's an entirely new one, a chapter with the potential to be your most peaceful, your most aware, your most deeply satisfying yet. And that chapter is written, in part, at your table. With every meal, you're shaping your future. You're feeding not just your hunger, but your brain, your bones, your memory, your energy, your joy. You're setting the rhythm for how you want to feel, not just next week, but next year, even 10 years from now. That's how powerful food can be. And don't let the world tell you otherwise. You don't need to chase the latest superfood trend or restrict yourself into misery. You don't need to count every bite or fear every indulgence. You just need to reconnect with real, whole food, with a rhythm that supports you, with a way of eating that feels human, not hard. That might look like a bowl of lentil soup shared with a neighbor, or roasted sweet potatoes with a drizzle of olive oil and a sprinkle of rosemary, or a few slices of melon on a quiet afternoon with your favorite song playing in the background. Food that makes your body feel good. Food that makes your heart feel seen. And in that space, in that everyday ritual of eating with care, you begin to age differently. You begin to feel a steadiness inside. You become more resilient, not just physically, but emotionally, more sure of yourself, more you. And that steadiness becomes something you carry into everything, into how you walk, how you speak, how you greet others. You start to radiate the quiet strength that only comes from someone who is well-fed, body and soul. You become the person others look to, not just because you've aged, but because you've aged well, not with tricks or shortcuts, but with attention, with love, with rhythm. And maybe one day, someone younger will sit at your table and ask, "What's your secret?" And you'll smile, and you'll say, "I eat slow. I eat fresh. I eat with joy. I eat like someone who wants to stay alive, fully, deeply, for as long as I can." And that will be enough. And so, here we are. You've walked with me through fields of olive trees in Italy, morning gardens in Japan, and sunlit kitchens in Costa Rica, without ever leaving your home. You've seen how simple meals, lovingly prepared and joyfully shared, can nourish not just the body, but the spirit. And now, as we reach the end of this path together, I hope one thing has become beautifully clear. You still have time. Time to shift. Time to soften. Time to savor. You still have the power to change how your next years feel, not by chasing youth, but by welcoming the wisdom that age offers, by coming home to your body, by coming home to your plate. Because you are not broken. You are becoming. And becoming isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's quiet, like soup simmering on the stove. It's gentle, like your favorite spoon in your favorite bowl. It's humble, like choosing water instead of soda, beans instead of processed meat, a handful of berries instead of something boxed and frozen. This kind of life, the one built on care, on presence, on nourishment, it doesn't make headlines, but it changes everything. You start to notice your breath again. Your joints feel looser. Your mind feels clearer. Your skin feels softer. And more than anything, you feel closer to yourself. That's what eating this way does. It pulls you back from the noise, the rush, the fear. It steadies your hands. It centers your heart. And it says to the world, without needing to shout, "I am still here. I am still alive. And I am not done yet." That is your birthright. Not just to live longer, but to live better. So let these simple truths guide you when things feel hard, when your body aches, when your appetite feels off, when the fridge looks empty or the day feels gray. Come back to the basics. Move slowly. Eat what's real. Drink water. Sit down. Chew with care. Say thank you. Stop at 80%. Eat colorfully. Grow something, even if it's just a sprig of mint in a jar. Eat with someone you love. Or eat in silence. But always eat with presence. And when you do, you'll start to carry that presence into the rest of your life. You'll walk into rooms with steadier feet. You'll speak with more calm. You'll make decisions not out of fear, but out of peace. Because the habits we build around food are never just about food. They shape who we are when we wake up, how we face stress, how we love, how we heal, how we grow older, with grace or with grief. You get to choose grace. And it starts with your next meal. So before we part ways, let me say this. I'm proud of you for listening, for showing up, for caring enough to ask, how do I eat in a way that honors this life I've been given? That question alone sets you apart. It puts you on the path not just to longer years, but to deeper ones, days that taste sweeter, mornings that feel lighter, evenings that bring true rest. Because you're not just surviving, you're tending, you're thriving. You're choosing a way of eating that says, I am worth the time. I am worth the care. And if no one else has reminded you lately, let me be the one. You are worthy of meals that nourish. You are worthy of food that sustains. You are worthy of health that supports a full, vibrant life. And every bite you take in alignment with that truth brings you closer to the person you're still becoming. So go ahead, take that next bite. Make it slow. Make it real. Make it yours. Because this isn't the end of the journey. It's just the beginning. And now, before we say goodbye, I want you to pause. Take a deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your body, this incredible vessel that's carried you through decades, through change, through storms, through laughter, through meals, through life. You've come so far. And the fact that you're still learning, still growing, still asking how to do better, that's not just inspiring. That's rare. That's powerful. That's something to be deeply proud of. Because most people your age are told to slow down, to step back, to let go. But you've chosen to reclaim something. Your health, your rhythm, your joy. You've chosen to return to the table, not just to eat, but to live. And if you've made it this far in our time together, I want you to know you're not alone. There are thousands of people, maybe even millions, just like you, people who are tired of quick fixes, who are ready to step into something deeper, something simpler, something real. People who want to age with dignity, with clarity, with joy. People who believe that the best years might still be ahead, not because they're easy, but because they're intentional. And that community, you're a part of it now. So I invite you, if something in this message has touched you, if something here felt like it was speaking directly to your heart, share it. Not because it helps this channel, though yes, it does, but because someone else out there might need to hear exactly what you just heard. Maybe a friend, maybe a sibling, maybe a neighbor, maybe a stranger who just needs a little reminder that aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean becoming. And if you feel called, leave a comment. Tell me what resonated with you. Tell me what you're going to try. Tell me the meal that reminds you of your childhood, or the small shift you've already made, or what you're still hoping to change. I read every word. And I promise you, your voice matters here. And yes, if this video has brought you value, please do tap that like button, subscribe, and join us again for more conversations like this. There's more to explore together, more habits, more healing, more stories of hope. But for now, let this be enough. You've taken a powerful step today. You've slowed down. You've listened. You've remembered that your health is not behind you. It's right here, in your hands, on your plate, in your breath. And with each new day, you get to begin again. So eat simply, eat slowly, eat with joy, eat with gratitude, eat like someone who loves life, eat like someone who plans to be here a while. Because your life, your beautiful, aging, radiant life, is still unfolding. And I, for one, can't wait to see where it goes. Until next time, be well, be gentle with yourself, and keep choosing to live fully, one meal, one breath, one loving choice at a time.